You need to hear me on this one. I'm going to ask you to do something before I say another word. Pause this. Go look at the badge on the front of your truck or your SUV. If it says Chevy, GMC, or Cadillac and the year is 2021, 2022, 2023, or 2024, sit down. Because there is a clock running on you right now, and almost nobody is telling you about it. In exactly 17 days, a piece of paper buried inside the federal recall database quietly closes. After May 31st, every dollar you have already paid to fix that 6.2-liter V8 under the hood stops being a debt General Motors owes you and turns into money you will never see again. 17 days. The dealer did not call. The mailer did not say it. And the reason General Motors is going this quiet is the same reason a federal investigator opened a brand new file on the company in January. A file that contains the single quietest thing the largest American automaker has ever admitted about an engine. Once you see what is inside that file, you cannot unsee it. And you will not look at that truck the same way again. Do not stop here. I'm about to read out loud one sentence the United States government printed in January that no major news outlet has read out loud yet. I'm going to give you the name of a GM spokesperson, one most people have never heard of, and one sentence he said in October that, if anyone in this country had been paying attention, would have been the lead story on every business channel in America. I'm going to walk you through the 3 exact moves that decide whether the next engine you put in this truck comes out of your bank account or theirs. And at the very end, I'm going to tell you something bigger, something that is not about your truck at all, but about whether this country can still build the things it used to be famous for building. Stay with me to the end, because the version of this story most owners die not knowing is the version that finally puts the choice back on your side of the table. The engine is called L87, 6.2 liters. 8 cylinders. It went into nearly every premium trim of every full-size truck and SUV General Motors built between March 2021 and May 2024. High Country, Denali, at 4, ZR2, Trail Boss, every single Cadillac Escalade and Escalade ESV, about 597,000 vehicles in the United States. And on April 24th, 2025, after General Motors sat on 3 separate internal investigations going back to February 2022, the company finally filed federal recall number 25V274. 3 years of internal investigations. 3 years they knew. The defect language was unusually specific. The company wrote that the connecting rod and the crankshaft components in these engines may have manufacturing defects that can lead to engine damage and engine failure. 28,102 field complaints, 14,000 alleged loss of propulsion, meaning the truck just stopped working, sometimes at highway speed. 12 alleged crashes, 12 alleged injuries, 42 alleged fires. Those are not numbers from a plaintiff's lawyer. Those are General Motors' own numbers, filed under penalty of federal law. Now lean in, because what they did about it is stranger than what caused it. The fix was not what most people picture when they hear the word recall. There was no redesigned engine. There was no new part. The fix was an inspection. If your engine passed, the dealer drained your 0W20 oil, refilled it with a thicker 0W40, swapped the filter, and slipped a page into your owner's manual. Thicker oil. That was the safety remedy for a defect General Motors itself, tied to 42 fires and 12 injuries. And if you are sitting there thinking that does not sound like enough, listen carefully. Because the United States federal government just put it in writing that you are right. On January 16, 2026, the federal regulator opened a brand new investigation. Not into another engine, into the fix itself. Document number RQ26001. I want you to hear what the investigators wrote, because as far as I can tell, no major news outlet has read this sentence out loud. They wrote that the complaints they had received allege failures of both remedies. Both. The oil change and the engine replacement. The thicker oil is failing, and the brand new engines GM put in to replace the broken ones, those are failing too. The United States government on federal letterhead telling you the company's own fix is not curing the defect. And here is the question every owner of one of these trucks has been afraid to ask out loud. Can this engine actually be fixed? The federal investigator who opened that file does not yet know. And I am about to show you that General Motors does not know either. But I cannot tell you how I know that until I tell you about Shad Balch. Shad Balch is the name almost nobody outside this industry has ever heard. He is a communications director at General Motors, and in October of 2025, he said one sentence to the trade publication Auto Guide that should have stopped this entire story cold. By October, owners were not just reporting first engine failures anymore. They were reporting second engine failures. A 2023 Tahoe, whose first engine died at 10,000 miles, passed the recall inspection at 44,800 miles, then had the second engine fail at 53,000 miles. In the high-speed lane, with 2 kids in the car, with 0 warning. That is not an anonymous post on a forum. That is a VIN and a time-stamped repair order. And Shad Balch told Auto Guide this exact sentence: the replacement engines associated with GM's L87 recall are a mix of new and remanufactured engines. A mix of new and remanufactured. Which means owners are being handed back engines rebuilt from cores produced before the manufacturing fix supposedly took effect on June 1st, 2024. Structurally, the replacement can contain the same defect as the engine it replaced. The company's own spokesperson said that out loud, and the auto press let it disappear in 48 hours. How sure am I this is what is actually happening? Hang on, because the next 30 seconds are the part Wall Street already priced in. General Motors' total warranty reserve grew from $10.5 billion to $13.6 billion in fiscal year 2025. $3 billion of additional money set aside in one single year. The accounting line called adjustments to pre-existing warranties. That is the line a company hits when problems they thought they had solved are not actually solved, jumped from $1.24 billion to $3.25 billion. On the third quarter earnings call last fall, Chief Financial Officer Paul Jacobson stood in front of Wall Street and said, his exact words, "This is too high, and we need to do better." Chief Executive Officer Mary Barra has not addressed the L87 by name on any earnings call or any press appearance in the public record. President Mark Roos has not either. The most senior people at the largest American automaker have stayed almost entirely silent on the engine, sitting in nearly 600,000 trucks across this country. That is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. Hold the line, stay quiet, let May 31st pass. Hope you are not paying attention. Which is exactly why what you do in the next 17 days matters more than what you do in the next months. 3 moves. Do the first one tonight. Pull your VIN. Go to nhtsa.gov/recalls. Type it in. Screenshot the result. If you have ever paid out of pocket to fix the engine in this truck, any repair, any diagnostic, any tow, any rental, gather every receipt. Special coverage N252. 494003 reimburses those expenses, but only if your claim is filed before May 31st. Second move. If your engine is showing the warning signs GM itself listed, knocking that gets louder when you press the gas, the check engine light, hesitation, abnormal shifting, reduced propulsion, or a no start, do not drive that truck. Tow it. At drop-off, insist these exact phrases go on the repair order. Engine knocking, low oil pressure, loss of propulsion, request inspection per safety recall, N252494001 and special coverage, N252494003. Get the printed repair order before you walk out. Same day, call GM customer service and open a case number. Third move, the one most owners never know they have. If your truck has been in the shop 30 cumulative days for the same issue, or 3 or more failed repair attempts, you have a lemon law case in almost every state. The recall itself is your evidence. California gives you a refund or replacement plus a doubled civil penalty for willful violations. Ohio gives you a full refund with 0 mileage offset. North Carolina has the lowest days out of service threshold in the country, 20 business days plus treble damages. Before you hire a lawyer, file with BBB Autoline at 1-800-955-5100. General Motors is bound by a 1983 federal consent order to participate. It is free. Owners have already won buybacks on these exact trucks. And if your engine passed inspection and you got nothing but thicker oil, you are still covered. That same special coverage program quietly extended your powertrain warranty to 10 years or 150,000 miles, and it transfers when you sell. That 10-year warranty is the single most valuable asset on your truck right now. Walk into the dealer with a printed copy of the bulletin and demand your VIN be added in the dealer side system called IVH. Some dealers are not enrolling owners unless the owner asks by name. Ask by name. Stay with me because here is the bigger thing I promised you at the top. General Motors has not stood at a podium and said, "Our engine cannot be fixed." They have done something quieter and in some ways more revealing. They filed the recall. They wrote a fix. They watched the fix fail. They quietly extended the powertrain warranty to 10 years on every affected VIN, the move a company makes when it does not trust its own engineering. They took $3 billion of warranty reserves through the SEC. Their own CFO told Wall Street the number was too high, and they are sitting right now under an active federal investigation asking whether their fix actually fixes anything. That is what an admission sounds like when nobody is willing to say it out loud. And here is the part that should bother all of us long after this video ends. This is not just about your truck anymore. This is about whether the largest American automaker, the company that put the engine in every Cadillac for 100 years, can still build a motor its own engineers trust enough to defend in public. 3 years of internal investigations, $3 billion of new reserves, a CFO saying the number is too high, a CEO saying nothing at all. That is not a recall story. That is the story of a country quietly losing the ability to build the thing it used to be famous for. And the May 31st deadline is the moment General Motors gets to start moving on this, unless you file before they do. The federal investigation is your proof. The 10-year warranty is your defense. The deadline is your window. The choice is now, finally, sitting on your side of the table. If this video helped you understand where you actually stand, that is the entire reason this channel exists. Smart owners do not panic. They do not stay loyal to a logo. They read the documents. They file the paperwork. And they make the next move on their terms. Subscribe, and we will keep doing this together.